Hi, this is Betty Bassett with Roger Rucker. Rucker.
Yes. Hi.
With Primerica. This is our second take because the first one did not have sound because I didn't turn on the sound. um, thank you, Roger, for agreeing to retake an entire interview.
Oh, you're welcome. No one knew that.
You're so incredibly gracious. And thank you. Can you tell me what your job is here at Primerica?
Yeah, sure. I am digital. I'm a division. I was going to say divisional, but a division leader here, and also an investment advisor representative. And so what I do is I help people with their money. Everything from saving for retirement, college funds, buying a house, emergency funds, all those kinds of things, as well as protecting their income on the life insurance side. We also help people save money with their auto and homeowners insurance, as well as put together, legal protection plans, ID theft, and those kinds of things.
Wow. Okay. So how did you decide that this was a right fit for who you are and like of all the jobs out there?
Yes. Okay. Well, to start off with, actually, my background is computer science, and I started off with that. I did that along the way as I started the Primerica business. I worked Primerica part-time, and I worked with a lot of universities and even high schools. I worked with local high school, Thurgood Marshall, with their math and science club, but a lot of it was helping, with scientific collaborations, and that's how that part worked. At one point, I was a webmaster and a quality assurance test team lead, but during that time, I had an uncle that worked in this business, and he called the family together, extended family, and we all went over, and he said, "Hey, there's a business I'm looking at, and I've just gotten started with it, and I think it would be good for some of you to join me in the business." That's how he started. The concepts they talked about, I had heard about a lot of them before, through reading, and I'd heard the different concepts. We never really tied them together as a business. And so when I heard that, I thought, okay, I definitely ought to at least try this, because everything made sense, and I could see it being better for me and better for other people.
Wow. Okay. So what do you like about your job? All right. What you do?
All right. What I like about what I do, first of all, that it is my own business, and I get to, really, I'll say, call the shots from day to day. I like that I get to talk to a lot of different people. I get to help a lot of different people out, and I have people in, I'll say, all aspects of life, and so I do like the variety. I like that it's not necessarily 9 to 5 type thing. For instance, after we're done with the interview, I'll be helping someone later on this evening still.
Wow.
And so, that part of it, I do like the variety. It also gives me the freedom to, set my own schedule and really, decide who I want to work with.
Okay. Okay. Can you describe a typical day?
Sure. And so our office here, we're expanding. We're really looking to expand from, build out this agency to be more than the people in this office, and open some additional locations. And so for today, my typical day, I'll use this one as a typical day.
Okay. Okay.
Started off, this morning after I dropped my son off at school, I came here, and the first thing, on my calendar was helping, putting together the information, because I was going to meet with someone about starting a mutual fund. And so we met at Panera Bread, near downtown. Going there, it's away from the office. It's a sunny day. It was a great day to do that. So
perfect.
But went there to meet him because we had met there before, and so it was convenient. and so then after that, I came back here. I had some things left over from yesterday where everything we do that has paperwork gets scanned into our cloud system. Had some of that to take care of, and then also some of the prospecting things that we're doing right now. I'm looking to add to our team, and so several people that were responding back. I'm doing some social media contact and using that to meet new people, and then also putting together what I need for next week. Actually, I guess 2 weeks from now, but putting that together because I'm doing a financial wellness workshop at a business that has 30 employees. So we're going in and talking to them about what we do and just how they can be successful financially.
Okay, good. What is the hardest part of your job?
So I think the hardest part, the part that's the variety, the hardest part is staying focused on, I'll say the main thing. There are a lot of different things, and so from day to day, it is focusing on, who is it that I need to talk to next? Who is it that I need to help next? We're always also looking at new people that we're working with, but we have existing clients, and so focusing and spreading the time out to be able to touch base with them, stay in contact with them, and also, I think form the relationships with newer people. Now, I think the harder part is, being at, I think I have a more of a technical type background that I'm not as relational as I should be, and so I think that's a difficult thing. Is really being intentional about that.
Okay. So, how is Primerica? How does it differ from its competitors?
Well, I think one of the differences, there are a lot. There are several differences. One of the differences is we have a number offices throughout the United States and Canada, and every office probably has its own brand because each office is independently owned. So ours, we work in the area of from insurance, where insurance license, the securities, and investments, and then even looking forward, it was just announced we're going to help people with their senior health care, Medicare Advantage, and things like that in the future. And so when I look at it, and even mortgages coming up, but when I look at it, because we are that financial services distribution business, I think it's different because we bring people the tools, help them through the process, and then guide them based on where they are. Because we have such a wide variety of products, services, and I'll say partners. I think that makes us very unique. There are a lot of businesses that do some of those things, but not many that do all of the things that we do. And it's usually always, I'll say, needs based, where I feel like I'm a financial guide, just guiding people to find the things that they need.
Okay, yeah. I was just thinking, it's a matter of trust. Like, who do you trust, and how many different people do you want to deal with for, the different aspects of whether it's home insurance or car insurance or healthcare.
Yes.
If I could just come to you for all of that, because I already know you, I already trust you, then that simplifies like my decision-making process.
Yeah.
So
I was thinking, it's much easier to call me than to call 5 different 800 numbers and try to work through finding a person.
Exactly. So I can definitely see the benefit of I know you, I trust you, I trust the things that you represent because you are who you are.
Yes.
And you know, and if you offer products across a wide spectrum, then I know you will take the best care of me because I'm invested and so are you.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
that makes sense. um, so for this job, is there anything you wish that you had done before you got into Primerica to prepare you for what you do with Primerica?
I think for I mentioned the relational type thing. That's probably one of the areas. The other part, probably working with more people before. I say that just in it's all based on really the ability to help people, the ability to build a relationship, the ability to come across as a trustworthy person. And not that I wasn't trustworthy before, but
no, I'm sure you mean like to relate to people,
right? Being able to relate to people, some of those things before.
Yeah. I think a lot of it is just genetic. Whether some of us are more social or some of us are just more mathematical.
Right.
It's not like
it's all in personality types.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's actually anything that human beings can learn or not. But like I was telling you, Brianna is like, the social butterfly that, people will like run across the mall, scream out her name just to give her a hug. And I'm just like, alien. I wish people would love me that much, but so what skills are most important in your job?
All right. The skills that are most important, I really, there are some of the skills of, the things that you can, I'll say, learn. Some of it is, basic computer skills. Here over the last year, we've used Zoom like you wouldn't believe.
Okay.
But understanding some of those basic skills are key. It's not as much about the numbers and figuring that out. There are computer tools, there's software that helps with that. The part that is really big is being able to focus on the goals that you have. I think those are the bigger challenges. Sticking with the goals that you have. Whether that is hey, I want to help 10 new people this week. Things like that. What does it take to do that? And being able to go through that even when you call 10 people and 8 of them all have something going on. Right, not the not right now. Whether
right.
it's
for sure.
They've got a sick relative, their kid has a birthday party this week, and they're doing everything for that. But it is sticking to the goals and continuing to work through the processes that you have.
So, kind of deconstructing, like the behavior and following through.
Yes.
Okay.
Deconstructing it to where what steps need to be taken, and sticking with those. I think it's really developing those successful habits that you can continue to work through your process, whether you have the great results or if it's just time. On a sunny day, people don't tend to be home and answer their phone like they do when it's raining.
So when you were little, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh yes. Oh.
Because I teach. I'm a substitute teacher in Dayton, and I deal with a lot of high schoolers. So I'm constantly asking that question. Just trying to get them to think about what their future will hold. Yeah.
It's very interesting for kids, that's been one of those questions for kids for years. Is, well, what do you want to be when you grow up?
And
for
that's
me,
a hard question.
it is a hard question.
Yeah.
When I was little, I didn't really have a particular thing that I knew I wanted to be, and I say that because but I like to disassemble things and figure out how to put them back together. Not everything got put back together, but or sometimes I have extra parts at the end. But a lot of it was opening up a tape recorder, or opening things up and figuring out what's inside. And if I can take it apart and figure out how to put it back together, that I felt like, okay, well, I understand how this works. And so I thought, well, when I get older, maybe I'll get into something where I'm mechanically inclined. And then high school, it started off with electronics, so kind of the same kinds of things. But how do the wires in here work? If something's broken, what do I have to do to fix it? And that was a lot of it. So I knew I wanted to at least know how things work and use that to move forward. And I think that part of it I continue with that now.
Okay. I know your son does a lot of, like, he's into DATV, broadcasting, airplanes. What else does he do?
Yes, and those are the big things.
The big things.
Now I'll say those are the most interesting things. Outside of that, I'll say the more typical kid things now, because all of those, whether you're interested in video, you're interested in airplanes, there's YouTube channels and things like that where you can go and do those things, and and so that's what he's interested in. That is what he's interested in.
Okay.
And now he also is looking at
such a good head on his shoulder.
How can I get a drone pilot license? I mean, that's really the other thing.
He's got all these goals in front of him. He's, oh my gosh, such an amazing person. So how important is it to have a mentor in your line of work?
All right, it is extremely important to have a mentor, and I say that mentors, not just one. The reason for it is you have someone, there are the I'll say the blind spots in our lives, the things that we don't see about ourselves, and so having the mentor is very important. I work with several, some that are local, some that are all the way down in Mississippi that we work with, and we're in touch and talk with them on a weekly basis. Others, not as frequently, and then there's people that I would even say are mentors that I haven't met. Now those are the ones I talked about are ones that are personal. I can call them on the phone and but ones that you haven't met. There are people that have good content. Hey, these podcasts are those types of things where you can go and learn and fill in, I think, some things and get good direction from people, even if you don't know them. But I think mentorship is huge, and that is something that it is crucial for. I think it's crucial for young people, even in high school, to seek out mentorships, seek out who is it that can help me along in life. It may not be someone that you're gonna be with or be there with them all of your life, but during a season, I think it is very important.
Okay. How important is it to have someone believe in you?
I think someone believing in you is very important. For me, my wife and my son. Those are the two that, it is, I'll say, having them behind me, having them in my corner, having them believe in me, and along for this life's adventure, is big. And the reason I say that, it is what can drive you toward the things that you really want to achieve. And I don't necessarily mean only financial achievement. I mean just the things that you want to see happen, want to develop in your life.
Mm-hmm. What are you grateful for?
Mm. And, I'll say grateful first, for a relationship with Jesus Christ. Relationship that way is the first thing I'm grateful for. Also, grateful for my wife, grateful for my son, but grateful for the different opportunities I've had through life, and that is not only
Mm-hmm.
things that have been given to me, but the chances to do different things. You know, a lot of the things that you don't realize how important or how much they've shaped you until years later.
Really?
I was in the Army, and
Okay.
in basic training, you're not grateful for it, but
Yeah.
after that, there are some things that you realize, okay, that shaped me, and that that really
Uh-huh.
really helped. I mean, it gave me the chance to 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 be around the world
Yeah.
for a period of time, and then it also gave me a chance for having money for college. So I
Yeah.
am grateful for those kinds of things,
Yeah.
and grateful for the opportunity, like working with in the financial business.
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, Grateful that along the way I paid attention to it,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't just a fleeting thing that was okay. Well, I started part time, and there were times I put in more time than others, but
Mm-hmm.
along the way I always felt like, man, this is a good thing,
Mm-hmm.
and can be beneficial, and it has been.
Um, how do you balance work and like personal like life?
Yeah. Well, and I'll say the balance for work and personal and all of that. Um, it varies from day to day. There is no true balance every day.
Okay, so you're shooting for the balance
Right.
of the week, right?
Yeah, we're going to balance out balance out in the week. The good
Okay.
thing I do have, I have the chance. So taking my son to school in the mornings.
Uh-huh.
Right now, because of COVID,
Uh-huh.
they've opted to continue on the hybrid model. So he goes
Mm-hmm.
3 days a week, but he's at home 2 days. And I take him in the mornings,
Mm-hmm.
and we have good conversations in the car.
He's so
And
precious.
so that's part of it. But through the week, there are I home most evenings. We eat dinner together, and in that that is something I'm grateful for, and that we take the time to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I think many times people don't take the time to do that, and you know we see that as being important. I say
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful for that, and I think people should make those kinds of things priorities, and and that way, if it's a priority, you can balance out your life. Because I don't necessarily stop right at 5, 6, or 7. Sometimes we're we continue to do what needs to be done.
Okay. Um, so talk to me about some money mistakes that young adults can make as they're just, graduating from high school and getting a job and,
Yes.
getting their own place, starting up, their life out of high school.
Yeah, and I'll say out of high school, there are a few mistakes that people, I think young people can make.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, there are unlimited opportunities for you to spend your money or use your money on things.
Mm-hmm.
Not having a goal, or not having something that they're looking to do with their money is probably one of the biggest mistakes, because then if there's not a plan for it, that money will develop a plan for itself, and it will
Mm-hmm.
go toward things, and people get years down the road and don't know where all their money went. Now,
Mm-hmm.
for people coming out of high school, one of the
Mm-hmm.
biggest challenges, especially if they're going on to college,
Mm-hmm.
is paying for college.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big deal, and a student in high school, I think they really should pay attention and save as much money as they can while they're in high school. I know in high school, um, those things just things come up.
Mm-hmm.
There is everything from proms to football games, basketball games, and people want a car, but with all these opportunities to spend money when it comes to college, and the reason that stood out in my mind right now,
Mm-hmm.
I read an article last night that was talking about the college loan debt. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I know that it's been a tough thing for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I've run across probably 5 people in the last year, all with over $100,000 in student loan debt,
Okay.
and um, every year that amount goes up, and they're out of college.
Mm-hmm.
But it's because it's on a income-based repayment plan,
Mm-hmm.
and for them, I think one of the biggest mistakes is people in college will continue to pile on the student loan debt.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that they're trying to do that, but it's like, well, I've started, I feel obligated to continue. I have to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And when they get done, they have a huge amount of student loan debt, and some of them even look at these government programs and say, hey, after 10 years, if you work this kind of job or work in this sector, your loan will be forgiven, and
Mm-hmm.
they're counting on that. There's
Doesn't
a
happen.
very, very small percentage of people who have gotten their loans forgiven.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that student loan debt is one of those big things. Other things, I think people that get out of college, especially as they start a family, they don't even think about things like life insurance for replacing their income.
Mm-hmm.
We see things like the GoFundMe accounts that
Mm-hmm.
pop up, and people, hey, can you contribute over here, for that? That is something that is just by not having the priorities, and I think it's a mistake where
Mm-hmm.
people don't have some kind of life insurance, especially when there's someone relying on their income.
Okay. Okay. So what do you think are your greatest strengths and weaknesses?
I'll say for strength, and I'm gonna stop this and keep it from going off again. But when it comes to strengths, I think I'm probably more of a logical person than an emotional person.
Uh-huh.
I think that's a good thing overall. However, it's it could be a weakness when I talk about the relational things.
Yeah.
But I say that I hear things happen, and then I want to know, okay, well, where are the facts around that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't just jump off into the emotional. Oh no, that shouldn't be that way, or
Mm-hmm.
I want to get the facts and really understand what challenges are,
Mm-hmm.
and some of that is, okay, if I do that, is there something that can help resolve it?
Mm-hmm.
Are there people that need to come together? Is there an apology that needs to be made? Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I look at it that way.
Okay.
I think that's a strength.
Sounds like it.
Yes, for the weakness side, it may be that, I think it's that same thing.
How can it be
Yeah.
a strength and a
Right.
weakness also?
Yeah, and the weakness is probably on not that I'm not relational. I mean, I talk to people and
Yeah.
can talk to people. That part,
Yeah.
I feel confident with it, but it may not be, I may not be the person that's.
I think you're reserved.
That is it. That is very true.
Yeah. I think you're like genuine and generous and very amazing on many fronts, but you are reserved.
That's probably true. Yeah, I'd say that's.
um for children that are just graduating from high school, and they have so many decisions about life, what is your recommendation on how they should go about making decisions?
Right.
What's a good way of doing that?
Yeah. For that, I do think they need to find someone that can be a good, I'll say a good counselor. And when I put it that way, I mean, that can be a mentor. It could be a parent, but it doesn't, necessarily have to, or that parent could defer or send them to or set them down with someone else. But the main thing is for a person that's coming out of high school, and it would be great for them to start to figure out some of that while they're in high school. But really is, okay, as I'm moving into adulting, what is it that I should do?
Yeah.
And understand that, does that mean that, in the next few years, or, right now, that, do I need to have a place to live? Do I need to have transportation? What is it that I'm going to do? And that's where I said, before they get to the end of high school, I think people, young people do need to really start thinking about what is it that I'm going to do when high school is over. Most people coming out of high school, I mean, they still need to learn a lot more. And it's not necessarily saying that has to be going into college. That is one place. The military as an option is also another place.
Right.
But it could be that the person, hey, go and find an apprenticeship or something that you feel good about, feel led to. I heard someone say the other day, I was talking to them, and they're saying, I'm not sure if I want to pay tuition or buy my child a food truck and let them launch a business.
Right.
And so those kinds of things are something that I think young people need to really start figuring out in high school. They don't have to have it all figured out. Most adults, when they leave high school, they don't start in the job that they're going to work for the next 40 years.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I think that rarely exists anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't. How do people develop self-discipline to do things that are uncomfortable and not easy?
Yeah. How to develop it, I think, is it really starts with and I'll use leadership, because if a person doesn't have the great self-discipline already, they need to find someone that I think they can follow. And I put it that way because that may be a mentor, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. But someone that they can follow that is maybe going in the direction, doing what it is that they think they want to do. And when I say follow, this, I don't mean a social media follow. I mean, it could be someone that they work with. It could be, if it's a business, I mean, just, learning from a leader can be very helpful for people, because, it may be a way for them to develop what they're passionate about. I think, people should be, passionate about what they're doing. And that's speaking from somebody who's been out of high school for years. When you're just out of high school, we'll just say some years. When you're in high school, it's hard to know what it is that you want to be, passionate. Most people don't have that figured out. When I graduated from high school, my electronics was I went to a vocational high school, and electronics was the thing I left with. But and actually thought that's what I wanted to do. And then probably 6 years later, really 3 years later, that wasn't what I was doing, and 6 years later it had changed to something else.
Wow, life changes. So what advice would you give to someone that's, just starting out?
All right. For a person that's just starting out, if they have something that they're wanting to do, I'll say, and I'll start off with just thinking the career path kind of thing, or their life goal kind of thing. Work hard at it. Become an expert at your thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, put put your all into it, because that's what it's going to take to be successful at it.
Mm-hmm.
Whether we look at athletes, and I think right now, for instance, Steph Curry, one of the best shooter in the NBA currently.
Okay.
And even after being at I'll say the top of his game, having an injury and coming back, I mean, he's still working on it to get even better. And so whatever it is that you're doing, put your all into it so that you can get good at it.
Mm-hmm.
And that way, then you can really find out, okay, well, this is working, and see the results from it.
Okay.
I also say pray hard about it.
Okay. So what advice do you have about insurance, taxes, and personal finance?
When it comes to insurance, with life insurance, that's the one area that most people don't think about. So my advice is, if you need life insurance, if there's someone depending on your income, you want to have enough to replace your income for a good 7 to 10 years at least. And so that's some advice on that area.
So what bad things have you seen happen because that life insurance wasn't there?
And so the things that I've seen happen, someone dies and the life insurance isn't there. They families will do things where, hey, we need to pull everybody together and maybe pay for the funeral.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a mortgage, okay, we probably can't stay in this house. Let's see if we can, how long we can. And then people have to move. They have to make bad long-term decisions when they have only a short term to make that decision. If there's money there, they can figure out, okay, well, we don't have to move from the house. We don't have to go move in with somebody else. So those are some of the bad things. You said insurance and taxes. For taxes, figuring out how to reduce what you have to pay in taxes legally. legally is one of the best things. And so I help people, like, for instance, with Roth IRAs when they're able to do that. And that's because the money they put in there can grow tax-free for the rest of their life, at least the way they're set up right now. When it comes to taxes, file your tax returns every year. I've sat down with people where that's been something where 1 year they didn't, and then the next year they're nervous about it and they don't file again. And so several years can go by, and penalties rack up. So at least do that. Work with, if you don't feel like you're able to do that. There's a lot of software out there, but consult with a tax professional.
Okay.
Those kinds of things, just to get to I'll say, to figure out the taxes part.
Right.
And what was another area in there?
Personal finances.
Yeah, and personal finance. I'll say avoid debt.
Really?
Yes.
What about buying a car or buying a house? I mean, who has savings for that?
Right, and so save up for that. Now, for a house, I'll say the best way, the best finance plan on a house is to pay cash for it. But if not, then okay, get a mortgage. But if you're able to do it for 15 years, do it for 15 years. Don't stretch it out for 30 and beyond. And the reason is because if you look at how much gets paid in interest, I know interest rates are low right now, but if you stretch it out for a long time, you end up paying a lot more for it. For cars, most people think, okay, well, if I get a car, I'm gonna have a car payment. Let me go find the lowest car payment I can.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it used to be that car payments only last a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can finance a car for 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
And when you drive it off the lot, you owe more on the car than it's worth.
Mm-hmm.
And you get 2 years into it, especially if you financed it for 8 years. You get 2 years into it, and that car, you couldn't sell it for what you owe on it. And so people get upside down in a car payment.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get okay. I understand people. A lot of times will get a car and have a car payment, but
Mm-hmm.
don't go out and get a car payment that's going to last for forever, or one that's so big that it's more than rent, more than the house payment. Those
Mm-hmm.
things are just ridiculous, and they take away your ability to get to financial freedom.
Right. Okay. That's really great advice. How do you push through difficult times in life?
Mm-hmm. Difficult times come, and they will come. The way I look at it, you need to look more ahead than you look back. Looking ahead, looking at what the future holds, I think helps push through whatever the hard times are. Hard times come, and it can be extremely difficult. I mean, I say hard times come. If it's something that's a medical type thing, or something, a relationship type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Those things are hard.
Mm-hmm.
Pushing through it, it is. I'll say you know spiritually, seek out, wisdom that way. That's
Yeah.
where, pray through those times,
Yeah.
and, look forward to better times coming.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for some people, depression can be an issue where, they get stuck there. And, during this last year, with the pandemic, especially when, there was quarantining, and you don't go around people, and people didn't, a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of people that lived alone didn't have the interactions that they normally had with people. And so
Yeah.
those are difficult times.
Yeah.
And looking forward to the time when it's not going to be that way, I think is one of the positive lights down the road to focus on.
Yeah. So, what are some success habits that you recommend young adults to try and develop for
Mm-hmm.
themselves?
Some success habits, the thing I would say, first of all, whether it's reading, and some people say, well, I don't like to read. Now there are audiobooks. And there are, almost every book that's worthwhile will have an audiobook with it.
Uh-huh.
And so I say use some of those tools, some of that material as a way to constantly improve. And so the success habit is constantly improve. Look for ways that you can do that. Going beyond that, figuring out, starting off with the goals that you have. Look at, sit down with your goals often. I don't do it often enough. I'd say, sit down with it. People will set goals and at the beginning of the year and not look at it through the year. But, set them at the beginning of the year, address them every month. Matter of fact, address them every week, every day, because it keeps them in front of you, and that as a habit, is something that, will continue to pull you forward.
Mm-hmm.
I in the morning, I, start off with my, I call it the success calendar book.
Mm-hmm.
And in there every morning, one of the things that I look at is, I am building a financial services distribution business that equips people with the tools, leadership, and successful examples to achieve financial freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how I start off the day on, okay, what am I doing today?
Mm-hmm.
That is one of the things. Also, say, I am the most important person, the people I meet today, will meet. The people I talk to today will meet. And that is how I bring value to them on a daily basis. Also, Joshua 1:9, be courageous. And
Be courageous.
be courageous. Looking at those kinds of habits, just, setting up your day, working toward it. One of the things that I need to get better at is at the end of the day, getting my schedule for the next day together, so that the next
Mm-hmm.
day, I have something already intact. I do it a lot of days. I won't even say I do it most days. I try to do it most days. That's one of the things I need to get better at.
Mm-hmm.
But doing that on a regular basis, those are the kind of habits that set you up for being focused.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't have that, your next day comes along and your next day is gone, and you can't even look back and say, okay, well, I did this to get better today.
Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds like you're very reflective and very intentional.
I say intentional. Most days.
Most days. So who inspires you?
Wow. So for inspiration, actually, I have a number of people inspire me. Really, on many days, my son is an inspiration, and I say that, you know, there's many days where he's a frustration too, but many days he's an inspiration. Um, just in that idea of looking at, well, what it is that, hey, I want to do this.
Right.
But when I look at inspiration, I have people that I work with that are inspirations. Here in our office, the person that leads the office, they've been going through a medical challenge over the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
But they're also an inspiration because they've been dealing with that, and they're still looking forward to how life can be better.
Okay.
Other inspirations, so within our company, I mean, we work with Senior National Sales Director David Lander, very inspirational.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the others that are mentors. So I don't know if I fully answered that, but
Yeah.
those are some of the
Yeah.
have a lot of inspiration. But I say find inspiration in people, and not just for celebrity and achievement, but find inspiration because there's someone that's doing something that's impacting the world.
Mm-hmm. What do you think teenagers need to know about becoming an adult? Like, what does Reese not understand, or what does Brianna not understand about being an adult?
When it comes to teenagers and looking at adults, first of all, somewhere in those teenage years, actually probably about 6th grade is where that's where they start to look at adults and think, well, they don't know anything. But but beyond that, really, being I'll say, looking at it yourself, and understand that just because you're 18, 19, 20, whatever, as a young adult, you still don't know everything, and you won't.
Right.
Going forward is really to understand that you are going to be learning for years to come. Mm-hmm. Hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you think you know everything, that's probably the time that you're just stuck.
You're deluding yourself.
Yes.
Would what do you think is the biggest challenge that someone that's just graduating from high school, and just starting out in life, what do you think are their biggest challenge?
Oh, I'll say the biggest challenge is, it's hard. I'll say it's hard as far as getting started. It's hard, and everything from the relationships that you have that you think you want, that may not happen. That 10, 20 years from then, it didn't matter. They didn't happen anyway.
Yeah.
But right then, for most people, that's the harder part is I'll say getting started, and then also the disappointment. So you go and you go and apply for a job, and you go through an interview or whatever, and you don't get that one. That's like, oh man, or you do get it, and 2 months later, they either tell you you're fired or say you're laid off or whatever the wording is, but you can't come back. For those things are hard.
You can't play in our sandbox.
That's right. You can't play in our sandbox anymore. Those things are hard, and you just have the biggest challenge is continuing on, striving. I'll say to get better. If there's something that you needed to learn from that, chances are you probably learned it. But if not, look for what was positive in that. And it may be that, okay, well, this was a season where I got to learn about these things, and now I can go use this to do something else. So find what was positive in that challenge, or in that disappointment.
Yeah. Wow. Powerful. What do you think children value today versus what they should be valuing?
Wow. So, that one, since I'm not on the child side of it, I know young people value a lot of things that I don't think, and there were things I valued that my parents didn't think that were thinking, but and so I think children put too much value into things that are, well, I'll call it short term.
Right.
Sometimes it's hey, they value everything to do with I'll use their phone as an example. It's something that's useful. They value it highly, and we've all gotten kind of that way where if you leave home without it, you go back to get it. But but if you didn't have it, what would you do? It's obvious that you continue on. You'd still be able to function in the day. It might not be as convenient, but so I think some of the little tech things are valued highly, but there are a lot of things that people put value in that really in the grand scheme aren't that big. So this is somebody who's well out of high school talking. So I don't for a high school person, there's you just don't know the value. I think thinking long term when it comes to what you value is better than the short term thoughts of it.
Okay. So how is the world different now versus when you graduated from high school, and how do you think the world for children are as they're graduating from high school right now versus what their future will be when they're your age?
Wow. I think when with kids with young people graduating from high school now, they have a lot more distractions. I'll put it that way. There are a lot more things they're exposed to. Where when I graduated from high school, most people went to a high school in their neighborhood. Now, I went to a high school that was downtown and rode the public transit bus down there. When but that was the realm of all that I saw, on the bus route, and in my town. Now, I think people have, there's more distractions and there's more options. I call them distractions, but really there's more options. And now you can see what is going on around the world. My friends were in my neighborhood, whereas now your friends can be anywhere and you can connect with them. I use that phone example, but you really can connect with them wherever they are, and that's very easy. So now people have more options, which takes away from focus, and and more distractions, which also takes away from focus.
Yeah.
And so time goes by because there are too many things to do, too many options. Instead of just a few, heck, I say instead of a few TV channels, it went to a whole lot of TV channels to now you can stream whatever. And so you went from a few options to we'll call it almost 100 options, and now it's even more than that. And without focus, you can go in every different direction and never accomplish anything, and never really do the things you want.
Okay, got it. So what is the meaning of life, and what should be the reason that people get out of bed in the morning?
Wow. All right. Well, the meaning of life. I don't know. I think we find that one out like on the last day,
Okay.
But so I think have a reason to get out of bed. That I know, and I say that, and we talked about people going through challenges, and sometimes it's just I don't even want to get out of bed, but but still have a reason to. And do that, because if it's if you don't have something that you're trying to do, something that you want to do, time will go by. Time will go by whether you're doing it or not. And so if you have too much time go by, you miss out on a lot. You miss out on a lot of the things that you could have done, the things you could have learned, the relationships you could have formed. And so those are the reasons to get out of bed and to get after it.
Yeah. And kids grow up too.
Oh man, yes they do.
So, thank you for our second interview.
Oh, you're very welcome. This is fun. If we have a third one, we won't do the same thing.
We have a third one. No. Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome, baby.